Hey, 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 Wild coming at you, and I guess I'm your art doctor for the day. If you have a canvas that's loose and saggy and has a couple of dents in it for whatever reason, don't worry, I'm gonna show you how to fix it. And the first thing you wanna do is flip the canvas over to the back side. Then you wanna grab a spray bottle with distilled or filter water in it. This way we don't affect anything on the canvas itself, and start to spray generously across the entire canvas. Now make sure it's just a misting and not like you're dunking the actual canvas. And once your canvas is completely misted and wet across the entire thing, then we can take this and move it outside and put it in direct sunlight and allow it to dry. What this is going to achieve for us is it's going to allow the fibers to tighten up. The only reason our canvas got loose is because since it's cotton duck, the fibers got loose. When we introduce water and sunlight and heat, it's gonna start pulling those fibers closer and closer together, which is what we want for our canvas and as an artist. Now, I personally love to do this step 1 to 3 times to get a super taut canvas. All I do is I spray it like I showed you, put it outside like I showed you, and once it's dry, I like to spray it again and rotate the canvas and let it dry, and then I'll repeat that step one more time. The reason being is I go from tight to tighter to tightest. You'll notice when you pick up your canvas that it already feels tight, and when you flick it, it's gonna have a beautiful bounce sound to it, making it perfect to paint on right away. God, that just sounds beautiful. Now it'll stay taut for anywhere from a couple hours to a couple days to maybe even a week or two. It depends on your environment and humidity and everything like that. But once you start painting on it and your paint starts to cure and dry, it's gonna pull that canvas taut and leave it taut for the long haul. Hey, cutting in here real quick with an artist note. I sometimes forget that you may not live in warm and sunny Southern California like me. If you don't have access to the sun for this step, you can use a hairdryer. Now, if your canvas is still loose because it was really loose to begin with, or it has some major dents in it, we can fix it with what I like to call Wild's Wet Canvas Slurry. Trademarked, by the way. Allow me to show you how to use that to fix all the big issues. By the way, this is perfect if you plan on painting on your canvas with extremely heavy material. So to make our Wild's Wet Slurry, you're gonna need a few ingredients. You're gonna need white gesso, any craft glue, I prefer Elmer's glue or Mod Podge, and some lukewarm water, plus a container to hold it in and something to stir with. All you need to do is just take equal parts of white gesso, basically enough to cover the back of the canvas, just like that there. And you wanna take equal parts of craft glue. You just have to eyeball it, doesn't have to be perfect. Now give this a quick stir. Now I'm just using the back of a junky paintbrush that I have just to introduce everything a little bit here. And we're gonna take a little bit of lukewarm water and only introduce a little bit at a time. There we go. That's probably just like a teaspoon or so. And what we're trying to go for is the effect of a slurry. You want something that's still a little viscous, something that has a little body to it, but you still want it to easily apply to the back of our canvas. But we also want it to be thick because that extra thickness is going to pull on the back of the canvas even tighter, creating a tighter weave. That looks pretty good. You're looking for something that still holds onto its structure, but still flows off tiny bit like a ribbon. With our canvas that's been sprayed 3 times with water, we can take our slurry right here in our container and any household brush that you use to paint around your house and just dip it into our wet wild canvas slurry here and just start applying it to the back. And literally we're gonna get everything, and you can be extremely generous here, but we wanna make sure we spray, grind, paint this in across the entire back here. And yes, I do get under the cracks here and I go under the wooden frame. I try to coat as much as I possibly can to get the most tight canvas I can. And yes, it's okay if I hit the wooden frame. Now that we've coated the entire backing of the canvas with our Wild's Wet Canvas Slurry, still trademarked by the way, we can now take our canvas and move it outside and allow it to dry in direct sunlight. This will probably take anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes depending on your environment. When you apply the slurry to the back of the canvas, it's gonna do one major thing. It's gonna hold that tight weave together, so when you apply pressure or put any type of heavy material on your canvas, it's gonna have a harder time pulling apart and becoming saggy and loose. And when you do everything correctly, you get a canvas that looks like this, but more importantly, sounds like this. That's as tight as a drum. Now, if you plan on painting with heavier materials that will be pulling down on your canvas, heavy paints, heavy texturing material, or any type of plaster or clay, then I would recommend doing 2 coats of the slurry because that'll make it extra strong. Now, if your canvas is still even loose after that, by the way, it probably shouldn't because that last step will fix about 99% of problems out there, then you need to flip over your canvas and look at the pocket corners up here where you'll notice that there are slots. This means you need to introduce keys or shims, which can be introduced into these corner pieces here. And what that does, it's going to apply more pressure to the front of the canvas by pulling and pulling out the canvas frames even further, making that center canvas even more taut. I generally use that as a last resort because some people are scared to introduce the keys in there. They're extremely easy to do. You get them off Amazon, you just push them in there, use some force from your fingers, and then use any type of hammer or mallet to lightly tap them in. And you'll notice that the canvas frame gets pulled tighter and tighter. Don't overdo it because you can break the frame, but that's very rare to do. So just go slow and easy. And those are the 3 extreme methods to get a perfectly tight canvas every single time, even if it has issues like sag or looseness or dents on it. This will help you so much in your painting career. Now, if you're still suffering with a canvas that doesn't sit perfectly flat or rolls or kind of wiggles when you hang it, that's an entirely different issue. That means the frame's out of alignment, which we can do a video on how to fix that if you're interested. So leave me a comment down below. And hey, while you're down there, don't forget to hit like and subscribe because this video is going to help out every single artist out there. So show me some love. And if you want to learn more about being an awesome painter, then check out the videos over to my side where you see more of me and my beautiful face. It's 95 degrees in this room, so I hope you appreciate this video because I can't believe I'm not sweating more. I'll check you all later. Happy painting, and of course, peace.